Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If your stomach tightens when she looks away, if silence feels louder than words, stay with me because what I'm about to say will challenge everything you've been told about desire. Before we begin, take a second to subscribe and like this video because the truths you're about to hear are not repeated elsewhere and they protect you. I'm speaking to you as a psychologist, but also as a woman who understands the quiet language of intimacy. When a woman wants closeness with you, real closeness, she doesn't announce it. She moves differently. She invests energy where others can serve it. The first thing she always does is create emotional safety, not comfort. Safety. She lowers her guard in subtle ways, shares a fear without dressing it up, admits confusion instead of competence. This is not weakness, it's trust being tested. If you meet that moment with patience rather than performance, intimacy accelerates. The second thing she does is prioritize proximity. She finds reasons to be near you, not always physically, but mentally. She circles back to conversations, remembers small details, brings up moments you thought were insignificant. This is her mind making space. Desire begins there. Third, she mirrors your rhythm. Your tone slows, hers follows. Your humor shifts, she adapts. This is not manipulation, it's alignment. The nervous system seeks resonance before it seeks touch. Fourth, she becomes curious about your inner world, not your achievements, but your doubts. She asks questions that don't have obvious answers. This is her checking whether intimacy will be safe on both sides. Fifth, she allows anticipation to build. She doesn't rush outcomes. She lets pauses breathe. This is restraint driven by intention. And sixth, she offers consistency. Desire without consistency is chaos. When she wants intimacy, her behavior stabilizes. If you feel uneasy hearing this, good growth often arrives that way. Stay present. Notice how none of this requires chasing, proving, or forcing outcomes. Intimacy responds to steadiness. When you stop auditioning and start listening, her nervous system relaxes. Respect her pace. Hold your boundaries and speak plainly. Desire deepens where clarity lives. Confusion kills attraction. Presence revives it. If you want more, become safer, not louder. And let actions replace promises. Consistency, curiosity, and calm create gravity. And gravity draws intimacy without effort over time. When trust compounds quietly through repeated moments of respectful connection. When a woman wants intimacy with you, she changes how she listens. Not politely, not passively, but with a kind of focus that feels almost exposing. She hears what you don't say. She notices the pauses, the hesitations, the places where your voice tightens. This is the seventh sense most men overlook. Intimacy begins when she feels invited into the unsaid. If you rush to fill silence or perform strength, she pulls back. Silence is not a threat to her desire, it's a doorway. She also tests emotional reliability. This is misunderstood as moodiness, but it's not chaos. She'll share something vulnerable, then watch what you do next. Do you rush to fix it? Do you minimize it? Or do you stay grounded and present? Intimacy grows when she feels you can hold emotion without being swallowed by it. Another shift appears in how she negotiates boundaries. She becomes clearer, not softer. She states preferences instead of hinting. This is not control, it's investment. A woman who doesn't care avoids friction. A woman who wants closeness risks it. She corrects you gently because she imagines a future where understanding matters. You'll also notice a change in her body language when you're together. Her posture opens, her movements slow. She lingers at the end of moments instead of rushing to the next thing. This is her nervous system settling. Safety creates time expansion. When she feels safe, minutes stretch. When she doesn't, she escapes. She begins to integrate you into her routine, not as a headline, but as a constant, a message before bed, a thought shared midday. This isn't dependency, it's attachment forming. Intimacy is built through rhythm, not intensity. Here's where many men sabotage themselves. They confuse access with entitlement. Intimacy is permission renewed, not granted once. When you remain respectful, even when closeness increases, desire deepens when you push for more because you got some. Trust fractures. Pay attention to how she repairs after tension. If she reaches back out, clarifies, or softens after conflict, intimacy is present. Avoidant silence means it's not. Repair is the language of emotional investment. If you want to sustain this, regulate yourself. Breathe before responding. Speak slower than your impulse. Let curiosity lead instead of assumption. A calm presence signals strength far more than control. When she feels emotionally met, her desire doesn't need to be demanded. It volunteers itself steadily because it feels safe to do so. There is a moment most men miss, and it's the moment intimacy either deepens or quietly dies. It happens when a woman reveals a contradiction in herself. She wants closeness, yet fears losing autonomy. She desires connection, yet watches for pressure. When she wants intimacy with you, she lets you see this tension instead of hiding it. This is not confusion, it's honesty. If you label it as drama, she closes. If you hold space without judgment, she leans in. She also begins to soften her defenses around control. She allows you to influence plans, timing, and emotional direction. This is subtle. She doesn't surrender agency. She shares it. Shared influence is intimacy in motion. When you respond by dominating or withdrawing, the balance breaks. When you respond with collaboration, attraction stabilizes. Another sign appears in how she handles reassurance. When she wants intimacy, she doesn't constantly seek validation, but she notices consistency. She watches whether your words match your actions across time. One grand gesture cannot replace steady behavior. Desire attaches to predictability. When predictability feels safe, you'll notice she allows you to see her unpolished moments. Fatigue, uncertainty, vulnerability without performance. This is rare. Many women are desired for how they appear, not for who they are. She doesn't finally seek yourself or when they're tired. When she lets you see that side, she's inviting real closeness. Her communication becomes more direct. During moments of emotional weight, she doesn't test endlessly. She states what matters. This is not because she's less feminine or more demanding. It's because intimacy requires clarity. Ambiguity protects distance. She also adjusts her expectations of you, not upward in fantasy, but downward into reality. She wants to know who you are, not who you could be. This is a critical moment. If you pretend, intimacy stalls. If you stay honest, it grows. Many men believe attraction is fueled by unpredictability. That's only true at the surface. Intimacy is fueled by emotional regulation. When she sees you stay centered during disagreement, her trust deepens. When you become reactive, her desire retreats. She will also invite you into decision-making that affects her emotionally. This is a quiet test of partnership. Do you consider her perspective without losing yourself? Intimacy thrives where two regulated people meet, not where one disappears. If you want to protect this bond, resist the urge to accelerate outcomes. Intimacy unfolds at the speed of safety. Let moments complete themselves. Speak honestly without over-explaining. Presence, consistency, and grounded confidence communicate what words cannot. When she senses stability, intimacy stops feeling risky and starts feeling inevitable. Here's a truth most men never hear. Desire is quieter than you think, and intimacy is louder than words. When a woman wants closeness, she invests attention in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. She notices what you avoid admitting to yourself. She remembers the stories you told once, half forgotten, and brings them up later, as if by accident. This is not coincidence. This is her mind mapping the contours of your inner world. The more she remembers, the deeper she invests. She doesn't do it for manipulation. She does it because she wants to belong in your emotional space. You'll see her create micro moments of connection that seem insignificant but are heavy with intent. A lingering glance, a soft laugh at your joke, an unexpected message just to check in. These are signals, markers of her desire. If you miss them, you'll think she's distant. If you notice them, you'll understand intimacy is being built quietly, patiently, and strategically. She also reveals her priorities through what she sacrifices. Not grand sacrifices, but small adjustments. Changing her schedule, making time for your conversations, adjusting her environment to include you. Every shift is an unspoken "you matter." Intimacy is rarely shouted, it's demonstrated. Another sign is the shift in her language. She starts using inclusive pronouns, we, us, even in casual moments. This is a cognitive alignment, a subtle declaration that your presence has meaning in her world. Pay attention. Most men ignore this, thinking it's trivial. It isn't. This is her internal world merging with yours. Step by step, she also begins to anticipate your emotional needs without prompting. She notices when you're off, when you need space, or when you need affirmation. She adjusts her tone, timing, and energy accordingly. Desire expressed this way is intentional. It's a quiet choreography that says, I am attuned to you. Watch how she balances vulnerability with self-respect. She shares without collapsing. She listens without yielding. This equilibrium is magnetic because it signals emotional maturity. If you respond with presence rather than ego, her desire accelerates. If you respond with impatience or arrogance, her nervous system retreats. Finally, she tests reciprocity without explicitly stating it. She invests effort in emotional connection and watches if it is mirrored. She gauges whether your actions match your words. Intimacy flourishes where trust is earned, not assumed. If you want to cultivate this, remain aware, responsive, and grounded. Every subtle signal she gives is a door. Step through patiently with curiosity and respect when she senses stability. Emotional alignment and attentiveness. Intimacy becomes inevitable. It's not rushed. It's grown, nurtured, and harvested over time in silence, in patience, in the subtle art of attention. When a woman wants intimacy with you, she begins to create emotional mirrors. She reflects your energy, your mood, and sometimes even your fears. Not to mock, not to manipulate, but to show you that she sees you deeply. She doesn't just hear your words, she deciphers the unspoken patterns beneath them. If you're restless, she mirrors calm. If you're uncertain, she mirrors curiosity. This is her subconscious way of signaling. I want to connect. I want to be close. I am here with you. Most men dismiss this as coincidence or mood matching. It's not. It's intimacy in motion. She also invests in micro-consistency. She doesn't need grand gestures. She needs reliable presence. She sends messages at moments that matter, remembers what you said in passing, and subtly integrates you into her life without fanfare. These are breadcrumbs of emotional investment. If you ignore them, you miss the map she's drawing toward closeness. If you notice them, you understand her desire is intentional and steady. Another undeniable sign is when she tolerates and even invites disagreement. A woman who wants intimacy doesn't avoid conflict entirely. She tests your reactions in safe ways, presenting opinions that might challenge you, sharing feelings that might be inconvenient, seeing if you can hold space without judgment. If you respond with patience and openness, she leans in. If you react defensively or dismissively, she distances. Intimacy is fragile. It thrives on emotional safety, not ego wins. You'll also notice her use of humor shifts. It becomes more personal, more inclusive. She teases in ways that invite connection rather than alienation. Humor is her way of testing comfort levels, of saying, I am present, I notice you, I want to laugh with you, not at you. Men often underestimate how powerful this is. Shared laughter is an invisible bridge, and she builds it deliberately. She begins to integrate you into her internal narrative. Casual comments about future plans, personal hopes, or daily routines suddenly include you. She doesn't make promises, she signals possibilities. This is her subtle way of saying, I want you in my life, not just now, but across time. You'll also notice a refinement in her physical and verbal attention. Touch lingers slightly longer. Eyes connect more deeply. She remembers small details about your appearance or energy. These are not accidents. They are invitations to closeness. If you want to sustain this bond, don't chase or overanalyze. Respond with grounded presence. Mirror her consistency. Match her attentiveness with patience. Desire, when nurtured this way, amplifies itself. The more you honor her subtle investments, the more intimacy blooms, quietly, steadily, powerfully. Her signals are not random, they are deliberate, and if you miss them, you miss the intimacy she's already offering. But if you see them, respond consciously and protect the space she creates. Desire becomes inevitable. One of the most revealing signs a woman wants intimacy is how she handles emotional tension. She doesn't avoid it completely, and she doesn't escalate it unnecessarily. Instead, she tests whether you can navigate discomfort without losing yourself. She might challenge your opinions, express frustration, or share doubts, not to push you away, but to see if closeness can survive honesty. Men often mistake this for drama, but it's actually a profound invitation. How you respond in these moments determines whether she leans in or steps back. She also starts to reveal her priorities without explicitly stating them. You'll notice subtle shifts. She schedules time with you despite a busy day, remembers small commitments, or checks in at moments she knows are important to you. These actions aren't performed for attention. They are signals of intention. When she consistently makes space for you in her life, it shows desire grounded in care. Another key indicator is emotional transparency. She doesn't overshare to manipulate or seek validation, but she allows you to see her vulnerable side. Maybe she talks about fears, regrets, or moments of weakness. This is her subconscious asking, "Can you hold me without judgment?" If you respond with patience and empathy, trust deepens. If you react defensively or dismissively, intimacy recedes. You'll also notice an increased sensitivity to your moods. She tunes into your energy, noticing tension or fatigue, and responds in ways that help you feel understood. This isn't servitude, it's emotional attunement. She's giving you evidence that she wants to connect on a deeper level, not just be present physically or superficially. Her curiosity about your inner world intensifies. She asks questions that matter, listens without interruption, and remembers details you didn't expect her to retain. This is her way of signaling that she values not only your presence, but the content of your mind and heart. She also engages in small acts of care that feel effortless but are deliberate. A message to check in, a thought shared in passing, an action to make your day smoother. These are micro investments of intimacy. The accumulation of these gestures outweighs any single grand display. Finally, notice how she balances closeness with autonomy. She invests emotionally without losing herself. She wants connection, but she respects boundaries, hers and yours. This equilibrium is rare, and it signals genuine intimacy potential. If you want her closeness to deepen, respond in kind. Stay consistent, attentive, and grounded. Honor her signals without over-complicating them. Intimacy isn't rushed. It grows through presence, patience, and trust. The more you match her steady investment with calm reliability, the stronger and more magnetic your connection becomes. Desire thrives where safety and respect coexist. When a woman wants intimacy with you, she begins to communicate in ways that bypass words entirely. Her tone softens, her gestures linger, her eyes search for yours in moments you think are ordinary. This is not coincidence. It's intentional signaling. Men often underestimate the weight of these silent cues. They are the threads of connection, weaving trust and desire together. She doesn't announce it, she demonstrates it. Every micro-action, an extra touch, a slightly longer glance, a pause that invites conversation, is her nervous system saying, "I want you close. I am open to you." She also allows herself to be influenced by you without surrendering her agency. She adapts to your rhythm, your style of communication, your energy, but she does so willingly. This is a subtle but profound indicator of intimacy. When she bends, she's testing whether the bond can carry both of your needs. If you respond with patience and respect, she leans in more. If you react with ego or control, she retreats. Another unmistakable sign is her attentiveness to your emotional state. She notices your frustrations, joys, and quiet anxieties and responds appropriately without prompting. She adjusts her approach to meet you where you are. This isn't codependency. It's emotional attunement, and it requires presence. Men often miss this because they focus on overt actions rather than subtle responsiveness. She begins to integrate you into her daily patterns without being asked. Messages that check in, updates about her day, references to shared memories. All of these small acts indicate her mind is prioritizing you. You don't need to earn these moments. You need to recognize them and respond in kind. She will also show patience with your imperfections. When a man is open and responsive, a woman becomes more willing to reveal the less polished sides of herself. She knows intimacy is built in shared imperfection, not staged perfection. When she trusts that you can handle her unfiltered reality, her desire deepens. Another key marker is how she navigates anticipation. She doesn't rush interactions. She allows moments to unfold naturally. Timing, pauses, and subtle cues all become part of a silent rhythm she's creating with you. This rhythm communicates safety, attraction, and emotional alignment simultaneously. If you want to maintain and amplify this intimacy, cultivate presence and consistency. Notice, respond, and honor her subtle signals without overanalyzing or forcing outcomes. Desire, when nurtured in this way, becomes inevitable. The more you stay grounded and attuned, the more she trusts, leans in, and opens the door to deeper connection. Intimacy isn't given, it's earned quietly, patiently, and consistently. Finally, the most powerful signal a woman gives when she truly wants intimacy is integration. When she begins to make you part of her world without being asked. This isn't about grand gestures or dramatic confessions. It's the quiet, consistent weaving of your presence into her daily life. She shares experiences, seeks your perspective, and invites you into decisions that matter to her emotionally. These moments aren't random, they're deliberate. She's saying without words, "You belong here. I trust you. I want closeness with you." She also mirrors your emotional regulation. When you stay grounded during challenges, she relaxes into the relationship. When you overreact, she tightens her boundaries. She's scanning not just what you say, but how you manage stress, disappointment, and joy. Emotional consistency from you tells her she can safely invest more of herself, and when she senses that, intimacy grows exponentially. Another unmistakable sign is how she celebrates small moments of connection. A thoughtful message, shared laughter, or a glance that lingers slightly longer than usual. She savors these, and in doing so, signals that closeness matters to her. Men often overlook these micro-celebrations, but they are the pulse of desire. She will also test the reciprocity of your investment, not aggressively but subtly. She watches whether your attention, presence, and care match hers over time. Intimacy thrives in balanced exchange, not in one-sided pursuit. If you match her energy with consistency and respect, desire multiplies. If you falter, she instinctively pulls back. You'll notice she prioritizes emotional safety over convenience. She doesn't manipulate, rush, or force closeness. Instead, she engages with honesty, patience, and thoughtful timing. She signals through her actions that connection is earned and nurtured. This approach may feel slow, but it's infinitely more powerful than any fleeting display of passion. Finally, she allows her vulnerability to coexist with her autonomy. She shares her fears, hopes, and private thoughts, yet maintains her identity. This equilibrium, being open without collapsing, is a profound expression of trust and desire. She's essentially saying, "I'm offering my authentic self because I believe you can handle it." If you want to meet her at this level, your response must be equally intentional. Stay present, stay consistent, and honor the space she creates. Don't overanalyze, don't push, and don't perform. Let your calm, attentive presence speak louder than words. Desire flourishes when safety, respect, and emotional attunement align. When you master this, intimacy no longer feels like a chase. It becomes an inevitable magnetic force drawn to you quietly but powerfully over.